Go live now to former US Naval Intelligence Officer John Jordan. He joins us every Friday. John, good to see you. The impeachment trial, look, John Bolton was certainly a bit of a spanner in the works. How do you think that one will end up?
Well, it looks like, Senator McConnell talked to ABC News, and this is just kind of coming over the wires here in the States, that it looks like the Republicans have the votes to bring an end to the trial after the senators do their question and answer period. So it looks like right now that this will be the last Friday that we're talking about this, Laura, and that it looks like there'll be the final vote on conviction or acquittal this weekend. And the way it's looking right now, a lot of my sources are telling me that there may be between 1 and 3 Democrats that vote with Republicans. So the acquittal may very well be bipartisan.
So that means it's dead. It's over. Trump continues on his merry way towards the election.
It looks like it's over.
Yeah.
There's two.
Sorry,
we're going to pivot towards the election now. The first vote is whether to have further witnesses, and the second vote will be up or down on acquittal versus conviction. Remember, under American law, it takes 2/3 of the Senate to remove a president from office, and not only are the Democrats not going to get any Republicans, it looks like between 1 and 3 Democrats will vote with Republicans to acquit.
Yeah, Trump's lawyer was hell-bent on stopping Bolton from giving evidence and testifying in the Senate. Yesterday, it was really unclear about whether the numbers would be with Bolton actually being able to do that. Some Republicans seem to be erring on the side of perhaps just wanting to hear what he had to say. So before we jump to the acquittal, and I think you're right, do you think there is a chance that some Republicans will want to hear from Bolton?
1 or 2 may. In the last 24 hours, there's been this whole Bolton saga is very strange. First of all, he's trying to sell a book. And this is a leak that came from the New York Times, so it's third-hand information. John Bolton has been utterly silent himself in the last week on this issue. So this is leaks through the New York Times. So nobody's really certain what, if anything, is in that manuscript. And then in the last 36 hours, there's been some clips of John Bolton since he was fired as National Security Advisor, where he actually praised the president's handling of Ukraine. And so that's on the internet, and that's been tweeted by the president and some of his allies. So it's really difficult to understand where Bolton, what he would actually say. And if he does say something that what the Democrats want him to say, it's contravened by the video clips of him on the internet praising the president's conduct towards Ukraine. So, and not to mention the fact that John Bolton wants to sell a book. So it's the whole business is kind of shady.
Yeah, and that's the caveat, isn't it? John Bolton seems to be, well, he's got an axe to grind, which may kind of, I suppose, weaken that argument. But, John, how much does this, and we've spoken about this a few times throughout this whole process, how much does this actually weaken the Democrats as they, head into the election over the next couple of months?
Well, the Democrats failed in their efforts to move public opinion and damage the president in terms of his approval numbers. They failed in that regard, and that's just demonstrated across survey after survey after survey. Nobody questions that. Republicans are unified in their support of the president, and the Democrats are kind of right where they were. Whether or not, one side of the Democrats can be painted as having neglected America's business in this full-throated rush to get President Trump, even at the expense of bread and butter issues, whether or not that cost him in November remains to be seen. But it looks like both sides realize this is going to be over pretty soon. Otherwise, it'll be witness after witness. The Senate will be hung up, and the American public will become disgusted. So it looks like this is over. Both sides are going to declare victory. The Democrats are going to declare cover-up. The Republicans are going to say, well, he was acquitted as he should have been, and, this is like World War I trench warfare in American politics as we go into the spring and summer.
Yeah, well, even so, it seems to be suffocating the Iowa caucuses, and look, there doesn't seem to be any clear frontrunner any longer within the Democrats. Of course, Joe Biden is always there, but he kind of seems like the lukewarm, hold your nose option. What's happened to Bloomberg? He seems to have dropped off the radar a bit.
He has dropped off the radar a bit, but your question, Laura, is very astute. We've talked about this before on this program, is that the cost to the Democrats of the impeachment program is that it sucks up all the media oxygen in this country, and it deprives the Democrats who are vying for the nomination of a chance to get some real traction, because this is just taking up all the space. And so the Democrat race for president on their side has been largely frozen in place, and these Democrats have now on the eve of Iowa, nobody's really gotten any traction. So it's really been harmful, especially to all the Democrats in the media world, the media light, when you look at it that way. And then secondly, you look at all but two of the major Democrats are, Bloomberg and Biden are members of the Senate, and they've been stuck in Washington. So the Democrat race has been frozen in place, and it's going to drag that out as we go into the spring and summer. And so the Democrat nominee won't be clear until later in the summer, or possibly it may not even be resolved until the convention in Milwaukee.
Oh, wow.
John, just on another story, throughout the week here, the coronavirus has been really dominating our news headlines, with even today 2 new cases being reported. So we're up to 9 now. I'm just wondering, in the US, how has the government response been received, and is it a significant story as it is here?
Well, right in the United States right now, it's a story. It's a business story. It's having a negative effect on the American equity markets, but it's being framed as an economic story. It's not yet really broke in as people being upset about governmental response to it. There hasn't been that sort of hue and cry yet. But there has been, today as reported, the first human-to-human transfer of the coronavirus inside the United States, and that could change if more cases develop. But right now, it is more being talked about as a business story and its impact on other countries, and it's possibly disrupt supply chains and having a negative impact on the stock market.
Yep, same here. It is going to have another negative impact today, although that seems to be waning. John Jordan, as always, good to see you. We'll see you soon.